With this shove, the gloves come off.
New tonight, President Trump's border wall prototypes are finished.
Customs and Border Patrol says it's possible that we might not even see a finalist from one of these 8 walls, and that we could see a hybrid of each of the 8's best characteristics.
We're going to test it for digging, we're going to test it for breachability, and we're going to test it for climbing.
A rancher who protects his land with a rifle and bulletproof vest from those who try to cross through illegally.
This is how the rally started.
We are the warriors for the front line.
By the border in Otay Mesa, Duncan Hunter, the key speaker.
You got to build the wall.
Law enforcement flanked the crowd as it started to grow.
We are getting a little impatient, and we want this wall built, and we want it soon.
President Trump knows what he's doing. He said, I want a wall that they can't climb over.
Some vocal.
10 feet, 20 feet, 100 feet tall. Build the wall. Build that wall.
Others silently speaking volumes.
Amen.
In comes a group of 15 counter-protesters.
This wall represents death for our communities, for migrant communities, not just from Mexico.
With this shove, the gloves come off. The cavalry coming in just over 1 minute after the first punch was thrown.
These men are the Klan. Don't worry about it. They're the Klan. These men are cowards.
Racists go home. Racists go home.
Heavily armored law enforcement forming lines, but counter-protesters who were grossly outnumbered say it was too little too late.
They did not do a single thing. Now, this isn't new.
And we did reach out to the Sheriff's Department. Here's what they tell us in part in a statement. Deputies take action when a crime is observed. Deputies responded in this case when they observed the altercation and intervened. Maintaining a safe place for people to express their opinions is our highest priority. No arrests were made, but one victim is working with us to file a report. Again, that advisory board will meet here in about 15 minutes, and one man who was beaten at that rally will be here to speak. We will have a live update for you at 6 o'clock. Reporting live downtown, Vanessa Van Hefty, 10 News.
Human smuggling along the border happens every day. With the border wall prototypes now complete, all eyes are on San Diego County. Smugglers are turning to new and sophisticated ways to sneak people into the United States.
Team 10 investigator Adam Rakusin got an inside look at the tools law enforcement use to stop the criminals.
Yeah, and it used to be that these smuggling organizations could create near replicas of IDs and passports, but new technology makes it easier to detect the fakes. Authorities are seeing more people smuggled into the United States in trunks and other compartments.
It's about noon on a Thursday. Thousands of vehicles and people are funneling through the largest land border in the world, the San Ysidro port of entry.
100% are being scanned for any radiation, any weapons of mass effect.
Customs and Border Protection officers meticulously verifying the identities of every person crossing from Mexico into the United States. Mixed in with the sea of vehicles transporting those legally allowed into the U.S., smugglers trying almost any method possible to sneak immigrants past the border.
I would say it's a daily basis that we do see individuals trying to be or attempting to smuggle into the United States.
Sidney Aki is the port director for San Ysidro and Otay Mesa.
We've seen an increase in individuals being smuggled in trunks of vehicles, in false compartments, under the rear seats, or between the rear seats and the trunk.
Here's what people being moved like cargo looks like. These pictures from ICE and CBP show 2, sometimes 3 people cramped into compartments designed to fool officers. Aki says the compartments are getting smaller, more sophisticated, and extremely dangerous.
The time that you are in that compartment could potentially lead to suffocation, could potentially lead to heat exhaustion.
Those who do make it out alive often end up buried in costs owed to the smuggler or smuggling organization. A September report from the Department of Homeland Security shows the amount of money paid to smugglers has steadily increased. So Team 10 poured through hundreds of online documents and tracked San Diego area federal arrest reports for crimes associated with human smuggling between January and March of this year. Using witness statements from almost 60 federal complaint documents, Team 10 discovered people willing to pay around $4,000 to $7,000. The highest, around $15,000 to gain entry to the U.S. Seems like a lot, but for comparison, Chinese immigrants paid between $60,000 to $70,000 to be smuggled into the U.S. during that time frame.
If you're crossing anywhere in this part of Mexico, you are using some type of smuggling organization.
Human smuggling isn't just contained at the ports of entry. We got an inside look at Border Patrol operations from Otay Mesa to Imperial Beach, riding along with Agent Theron Francisco in an area that's known as the enforcement zone.
As the size of the groups have gone down from the past, we don't get the huge number of migrants. It's usually a handful, maybe 3 to 5.
Something we saw firsthand. A few miles from the beach, Agent Francisco noticed what appeared to be a spotter on the hill, then movement next to the fence.
Yeah, we have like 6 up here.
He says a group of 5 to 6 people ready to jump over.
They weren't on the fence, they were still, on the south side, but yeah, as soon as they saw us, they, ran back south a little bit.
Francisco says smuggling's a big business, and if someone's intent on getting to the U.S., they'll often pay more or take more chances for that shot at freedom and opportunity.
It could take, as little as 90 seconds for them to jump over the primary wall, run up and over to the secondary, and get through that.
And the border fence that's in place has also pushed smuggling operations into the desert and the ocean. Authorities say the smugglers don't prepare the people for the distances and conditions. And according to the International Organization for Migration, more migrants crossing into the United States through Mexico are dying at a faster rate this year than in previous years.
Yeah, your story clearly just shows the dangers in this.
It is, and we've seen it. There was the semi-truck and tractor trailer in Texas where 10 people died and dozens more were injured. It's just such a scary sight.
Very sophisticated sometimes, too. Adam, thank you.
You may not find a bigger supporter for President Trump's border wall than Bob Maupin.
It took me 5 years to build it. I'm not going to take it down.
A rancher who protects his land with a rifle and bulletproof vest from those who try to cross through illegally.
And over the last 30 years, we spent $20 grand.
$20,000 building and maintaining his own fence on the border near Boulevard to keep illegal immigrants off his land. For Maupin, Trump's border wall can't get here soon enough.
That is correct. I would love for him to start right here. I doubt seriously, depending on how they build it, that I will have any problems after that.
But for our U.S. Border Patrol,
they utilize time, terrain to their advantage to try to beat us.
Just building a massive wall may not be good enough, especially here in the Otay Mountains, a dangerous but very popular spot for illegal crossings.
The border fence here in the Otay Mountains is 18 to 20 feet high, and while it may seem hard to believe, immigrants will hike in with ladders, hop up and over, and then continue their trek on into the United States.
Definitely a dangerous and difficult place to cross the border.
An area so rugged, Border Patrol agents are often flown in by helicopter just to track illegal immigrants. People willing to do anything to get into the U.S. In fact, just since October,
we've made over 1,000 arrests and made 40 felony prosecutions.
With Task Force Otay of the U.S. Border Patrol, Steve Atkinson, 10 News.
We have to stick together.
Words of perseverance from Sylvia Ocampo's son, even as his mom is taken from the family and deported to Mexico.
I wanted to cry because Mama was taken away.
Late today, ICE sent 10 News a statement explaining the decision, a decision those rallying on her behalf hoped they'd never see. ICE says in part it was, quote, based on a final order of removal issued by a federal immigration judge. She had her case heard before the immigration judge, the Board of Immigration Appeals, and twice before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. All courts concluded that Ms. Ocampo Ortiz was to be removed from the United States. The San Diego mother has been at the center of an immigration debate. She came here illegally in 1992, but some local leaders say she's lived a model life, raising 2 kids and working as a housekeeper.
In fact, she came to me. We passed state legislation to allow her to get in a position where she could, in fact, apply for citizenship.
The legislation was dubbed Sylvia's Law, which lessened the punishment for undocumented immigrants convicted of nonviolent crimes. Ocampo was charged with a felony and convicted of perjury in 2009 after she tried to get a driver's license. She was required to check in every year with immigration officials. Ocampo was unexpectedly detained earlier this month during one of those meetings.
It's disheartening and devastating.
And ICE went on to say that there was nothing barring her removal to Mexico. Her supporters say they won't give up their fight just yet. Reporting live downtown at the federal courthouse, Brian Schlonsky, 10 News.